And welcome to Impact 2025, our continuing conversation where we talk about all different types of topics from race, religion, current events, everything that you can think of. This is the opportunity that you have to express your opinions and your feelings about different topics. As always, we encourage you to type your questions and your comments into the comment section, so feel free to do so. Also, as a reminder, we want to remind you about our other offerings. On Tuesdays today at 7 o'clock, we have a time of prayer from 7 to 7:45. Everyone in the ministry is praying at some point between that time. So please join us and pray together with us. On Thursdays at 7 o'clock here on Facebook and YouTube, we have Thursday Thirst, a weekly Bible study time. And then on Sundays as well, at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we have worship service. That is on Facebook, YouTube, and in person. So please feel free to come out and join us for that as well. And so, again, I'll remind you to please type your questions and your comments into the comments section. 2025 has been a busy year. As always, there are plenty of topics out there that we can talk about, a lot of different things. This time, we're going to talk about something that's a little bit light. A recent event that just happened yesterday. Yeah, because today's Tuesday, so it happened on Monday. And that event is that each year, there are numerous sports teams that have the ability to go to the White House. And they go to the White House because they are the champions. And so if you're the champion in basketball, you get invited to the White House, in baseball, in football. And so these teams get an opportunity to go. Now, normally, in normal times, it's not too controversial. Every once in a while, you have somebody to say, hey, I don't want to go see that president because blah, 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 or whatever the reason may be. Obama had a couple of times where some people were like, I don't want to go see Obama. And so they just didn't go. Or very rarely is it that a team just decides not to go until recently with Donald Trump because of some of the activities that he decides to put himself in, some of the racist things he says, some of the sexist things he says. Certain groups have decided not to visit him. Some notable ones was the women's national soccer team, who has a lot of people who are LGBTQ. They decided they don't want to go to the White House when they won. One of the other ones was during the NBA. During his tenure, you didn't have a lot of NBA teams going as well. And so what we're focusing on Monday, though, the Philadelphia Eagles, who just won the Super Bowl here in 2025, I guess it's the 2024 season, were invited to come to the White House, which is odd because last time they won in 2018, they were disinvited from the White House by Trump. And the reason that they were not invited to the White House was because reality of the matter is the attendance was going to be low and nobody was going to go. So this time they were invited, and there's some controversy going on the internet. And the question really, while we're talking about it, revolves on the fact of people were very critical. People were very critical of who went, and some people were very critical of who did not go, and why. So as Black people, there is, you know, let's keep it plain. Like I always want to say, let's just keep it plain. Trump has done some unsavory things when it comes to Black people. He just did an executive order with the Smithsonian museums and properties, so that includes museums and zoos. And with that executive order, he made sure that he pointed out that the African American Museum, and he wanted to point out that he wanted to make sure that they have a group that determines and make sure that the ideology that they choose will be represented in the African American Museum. So instead of the people from the Smithsonian and African Americans choosing what the story is going to be, he wants to make sure that he and his type of folk decide what the story is going to be. There are reports out here that he wants to encourage. Now, this is a report. This is not what he said, verbatim, word for word. But the reports are that he wanted to put out that slavery, was an opportunity to learn and get skills and, things such as that. And so for a lot of Black people, okay, like this guy, racist, or if not racist, is not a friend of the African American community. And so the controversy is, as majority of the Philadelphia Eagles football team are Black, there's some people in the Black community are critical of who's going. And then on the other side, you have Trump fans who sit back and say everybody should go, and they're critical of the ones who are not going. One of the most notable persons who are not going is the quarterback, African American quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. He decided he wasn't going. He had a scheduling conflict, as they said. Some others had a scheduling conflict. The reality of the matter is you have a 54-man roster and 20 people showed up at the White House. And so there was a significant amount of people who didn't show up. And then there's criticism of the ones who did go. There was the star running back, best running back in the league, many people say, Saquon Barkley did go. Not only did he go, he was seen playing golf with President Trump this past weekend. And he was getting a lot of flack for that. And he tweeted out, look, we got to stop all the politics stuff. I played golf with Obama. Now I'm playing golf with Trump. I just respect the office. And so the question is it right for people to criticize? Should we be critical of people who are just doing things like celebrating the fact that they won a championship? Should we be critical of those who decide that they want to go spend time with a president who, as Black and brown people, we sit back and we say, that's not, he's not for us. Truly he's against us. And by you spending time with him, that's not okay. A very valid question. I've listened to some people say it, and they say it like this. You don't want to normalize bad behavior. You don't want to sit back and act like this is a normal situation or look like you are being an enabler in a situation. If you believe that someone is a bad character, then that you should not just go around them. Let's do a better example. I know this is extreme. Please understand it is extreme. If you have someone who is a criminal, a murderer, and everyone is like, oh, this person is a murderer, and you're like, no, they're cool. They came to my house, hung out, watched TV, said some jokes. What you're doing, in a lot of people's eyes, is sitting back and trying to normalize and make the person and humanize the person. They're already human, but give them a lighter element to them, and so that they can continue doing what they're doing, and so that people will soften up to them and be like, oh, well, I'll give them a pass because so and so said that they were nice, or ooh, here's the lighter side of that person, even though he's out here murdering folks. And that's what they're saying. They're saying as we go and you say you respect the office, but somebody who is going out here doing racist activities, you're then normalizing it for others. So people who are like, oh, he's not really doing anything that bad because the Philadelphia Eagles showed up. So that's the one side. You're normalizing bad behavior, and truthfully, you're encouraging bad behavior by saying, oh, you know what, you're doing terrible things, but I'm going to go anyway. And so it's the valid. I think that's a valid criticism to have. It's valid, especially when we're talking about other Black people. When you're sitting back here and you're like, hey, man, come on, you see what he's trying to do to our community, and you're going to sit there and you're going to dance around in his face and be all smiley and take pictures and photos. But then on the other side, you sit back and you say, well, you should respect the office. It's not about who's there. It's an honor and a ceremony where you're honoring yourself. It's not about that person. It could be a bad person giving you a praise and honor because you did something great. And then you can even look at it if you want to go, let's take it let's take it even in a little further. When we look back and we say, all right, well, when Jesus was here amongst us, walking around, he was talking about, in the paraphrasing, that I'm here to be around to save the sinners and not the saved. So I had to be around, tax collectors, and had to be around unsavory people. You can't not be around these type of folk and then think that you're going to help those folk or save those folk or encourage those folk or do whatever. And so you have that side, which again, 100% valid. And so the conversation comes down to, well, where or what should we do? As not as the people who are going, they get to choose if they want to go or not. The great part about those Super Bowl celebrations is it's voluntary. It's not like the team is going to fine you or anything like that when you go. But as other people, there's been, they get on Twitter and all other stuff that I don't know the name of, and they criticize and they call people names like, oh man, you're a sellout for going and go see them, or they say things like, man, you need to go respect the office, man, you're being selfish. Is it our I know it's this is the type of society in, but is that something that we should be doing? Should we be criticizing people for going to meet with folk who are not great? And so for this conversation, we're assuming that I'm assuming that everybody's on the same page, that the president is not a great person, and he's doing some horrible things. So should you meet with that person? And this is not a meeting of, we're meeting to discuss the politics of the day. So we're meeting so I can tell you how this is bad and blah 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 blah. This is just a meeting. Take some photos and get up on out. Maybe get some souvenirs and then get up on out of there. So there's nothing productive that is going on as far as the conversation of, you need to stop doing what you're doing. So should we be critical of those people? Should we expect more? People praise the quarterback from the Eagles, in the black community. Like, hey man, that's how it's supposed to be. You can't just be showing up and dancing for these people. So comment. We need to determine and measure if our actions legitimize bad or harmful behavior. Our ego or our need to be important should not get in the way of our responsibility to set positive examples. Interesting. And so we're gonna go ahead and get even deeper with another perspective. So I got to guess Chris and bring you in here. Hey Chris,
right.
How we doing?
All right, doing well, man. Doing well.
Good. So let's hop right into it. Of course, I know you're aware that yesterday the Philadelphia Eagles went to the White House to celebrate their Super Bowl, and of course they only had 20 people there because a lot of black players didn't go. Most notably, the quarterback Jalen Hurts, the All-Star or their number 1 and number 2 receiver. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith didn't go. A lot of the stars didn't go, and but one star, the star running back, Saquon Barkley, he went, and some other people went. And of course, the internet, black community, has been very, very critical of the black people who went. Is that okay? Is that how we should be? Is that what we should do? What is your opinion on that? Or should we be critical of people of doing that? Or is it okay, you're just going to get celebrated, even though we know that Trump has done some horrible things to the black community? He's trying to rewrite history and trying to erase our history with certain things that that he's doing. What's your take?
Well, I don't know. I think Saquon Barkley may have made him a whole lot of money that night. So I think it would have been. I think sometimes black people we're too sensitive. We sometimes get caught up in the superficial things. When you win a Super Bowl, that's like one of the highest, most significant victories that you can make in professional sports. So I don't give them any flack, because how many people have actually won the Super Bowl? Like, if you think about, in terms of the achievement that he made. I mean, the president of the United States invited you to, to celebrate your victory. That's I don't see that as an issue. Now, I don't hold anything against anybody that held out either, though, because I think holding out, that's a peaceful way of protesting, the things that you disagree with. But
a peaceful
I
way of
also, but let me
protesting,
say this: black people,
the
black
things that
people,
you disagree with. But I also let me say this: black people.
I got cut out there, I think, but black people had nothing to say about Snoop when he DJ'd the party, though, for the president's inauguration. Just to say, you know, just saying, we got to pick and choose our battles. I don't think that's a battle that.
Yeah. But I'll say, not to cut you, but yeah, there was some controversy about Snoop and some others. But do you think that that's okay? One of the references I made earlier, when we're talking about, as Christians, we're talking about how Jesus approached it and his idea of I'm here for the sinners. So you got to get in front of these people. I do think that sometimes it's different because they're not there to listen to you. Just there to use you as a prop to be like, oh, I got black friends, that sort of thing to kind of make it okay. You got to have that person that you can, that. I'll talk about Saquon Barkley because I'm a Giants fan. He was a Giant. I liked him as a person.
Yeah, I think you're a little sour
nice
about
guy.
it. I think you're sour about him
people
leaving.
who've seen him, right? Now, I'm going to say this. People take it for what it is. His fiance is white. And so he may be may have a different experience than some of the rest of us. So he doesn't see things the same way. But people are very critical of how he's doing because basically they're looking at you as you are normalizing him while he goes out here and he persecutes people of color, black and brown. He's persecuting brown immigrants, migrants. He's out here trying to really get at black and brown people. And so you're trying to be like, oh, I can play golf with him and he's cool. And so somebody will sit back and be like, well, maybe he's not that bad because Saquon like him. What's your thoughts?
I mean, he's the president of the United States. Majority of the votes went to President Trump. I think the kind of guy he is, you're right. He likes to show off. And he likes to show people that, yeah, see, I black people like me and the white people like me and Hispanics like me too. But at the end of the day, Saquon Barkley is going to do what Saquon Barkley needs to do for Saquon Barkley and his family, So regardless of who the president is, I wouldn't doubt if Saquon voted for President Trump. He's in the tax bracket where it would make sense for him to be, allied with Trump and his policies. So, all your skin folk ain't your kin folk. You understand what I'm saying? So we think that, just because they're black that sometimes they're automatically lumped into the same life situations that we are. And I don't think Saquon didn't from that life. He didn't see life the same way Jalen Hurts saw it. Same way some of them defensive players saw it. He's not from them sides of the tracks.
Right.
He's phenomenal back. He's a phenomenal running back. But your athleticism doesn't necessarily connect you to that to a color. I mean, white people may think that, but that's, just I think we need to, even as blacks and Americans in general, we need to get away from just saying, oh, all black people are this way. You ain't really black if you you know, if you vote for Trump, you ain't black. You know, like I know some real black people that voted for Trump. You know, so like, you know, it's just sometimes we get caught up in the whole concept that being black makes us the same, and it doesn't.
Well, look, there's a comment here. When Jesus dealt with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, he would often criticize their behavior or beliefs, or beliefs. I think the difference is, as it was pointed out, this is not an opportunity. You don't have an audience with the president. You don't have an opportunity to talk about what's going on. Most of these guys just sitting there in the background like this. You don't have a chance to.
Yeah, you just props, baby. Oh.
Okay, sorry. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Had some kind of technical difficulty. I say that for somebody like you and me. If you had to show up, if you were on the Eagles and you were thinking about showing up, would you be able to show up but you don't have an opportunity to say anything to them? Like, hey man, what you said to Kamala about being black is disrespectful. I have a daughter. Like, don't do that. You know, or you don't have an opportunity to say that. And so, like it was saying, like I'll go back to the comment. Jesus was able to criticize. If you're not able to say your piece and you're just there for a photo shoot, would you be able to go?
I don't know. I don't. You know, I'm not in that situation. But right now, if I was in that situation and I was on that team and I got a chance to go, I probably would go. And I'd wear I voted for Kamala t-shirt. So I would definitely I would make my position known in the most peaceful and respectful way I possibly could.
Okay. Ooh, I don't know what is going on with our signal over here.
Oh.
Chris is definitely on it's our side.
Oh, it is? Okay, well, because I'm out here, so sometimes stuff goes out. But I said I would probably go, and I would, kind of in the most peaceful and respectful way, demonstrate my disapproval by wearing a I voted for Kamala t-shirt.
Interesting. And there's a comment below. If the Grand Wizard of the KKK invited the team to come by and celebrate, would that be okay?
That one I wouldn't go to. KKK has lynching in their past. I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah. You know what?
At least the White House stuff is televised. They'll be able to document exactly what happened. KKK stuff. He raped a white woman. What? No, I didn't. Okay, and then it's over with. So, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I can tell you. From my personal standpoint, I know I wouldn't be able to go. It's not so much. We haven't even gotten to the part of whether or not I respect the office or not, or I'm honored to go or not. I know that I'm not going to be able to keep my peace. When it's the opportunity, like if he goes down and he does the handshakes and he gets to me, I know that anger is not the right word, but my disgust at what he said about to black women would come out right then and there. And so if I can't, if you can't say anything good, you don't say nothing at all. If I can't be right, then I better stay my butt at home. Don't cause no problems. But that's for me personally.
Yeah, I think it was a powerful protest for them not showing up. I appreciate and respect that, but I try to see both angles. For those other players, not only is it one of the biggest, accomplishments and recognitions to be invited to the White House by the president and have that opportunity, it's still an opportunity for you to kind of demonstrate that regardless of what this man does, we still are all here together, and we need to find out a way to make it work for everybody, regardless of who the man is, regardless of who's sitting in the chair, regardless of his policies. We all still got to figure out how we're gonna make this American experiment work. And so I'm 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 a rebellious patriot, so I'm gonna always side on what's gonna make it better for everybody. But I'm true to my team.
Yeah.
And I recognize there are different teams here, and we just need to figure out how to make us the best so everybody's included. And
Yep.
don't respect what my man's doing, but he's still the president, and I do. But I believe a lot of it comes from just a respect for the struggle that my ancestors put into making this what it is now. And so, I understand Saquon's perspective, but I understand Jalen Hurts' perspective too. So it's like, how do we find the middle?
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. It's easy for us to throw stones, but every single one of us has had one of those situations. You
Okay.
have it with bosses that you know are not great people. You have it with being invited to a party, or having to go to somebody's house, or your child's coach, or tutor or something like that. We easily throw stones at these football players and these sports stars for showing up at the president. But how many times have we gone somewhere with somebody who we know is not a great person, and we sit there and we smile and we be like, oh, okay, yeah. So I say that to everybody, including myself. Like, before we go out here and we start criticizing everybody for their decisions, we got to realize that things are not always as cut and dry. They're difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be able to go to get in front of the president, but I don't think that I do have the right to be too critical of folk, because I have been around some bad people myself. Let's keep it black. If there's a lot of people who went to P. Diddy's parties, Puff Daddy's parties, even though they knew that he wasn't great.
Wild stuff going on in there.
Right. There's a lot of people who went to, a lot of other folks' parties, whether it be, Prince, Michael Jackson, whoever you want to name, R. Kelly, like, hey, I'm having a party at the crib. I'm like, bet, I'm going. And you knew that they weren't great. So if you can do that, and there ain't nobody talking about them, why are you mad at some folk who want to get celebrated by? And again, I'm still critical. I still don't like the fact that, I do think that every black person who goes there is helping normalize it and making it, especially for people of different races. White people be like, well, look, those black people came. He must not be that bad to the black community. Like, no, you are kind of, giving people excuses, but then people gonna have excuses anyway. And so,
well, I mean, everybody has an agenda, so I think everybody that goes to the White House has an agenda, and so I don't know. I think well, of course, the Super Bowl champs go every year, and so that's more of an NFL thing, and so to kind of show the power and the prestige of American football. But I don't know. I mean, Jim Brown went to go see President Trump, but I think, he legitimately went in there to, like, let's hash out some real stuff. But, Kanye got in the way. So, it's hard, yeah, man, that's a struggle of the black experience in America, man. Like, there's so many things that we feel are the right thing, but you got to pick a side. Always got to pick a side. He always, in somebody's eyes, on the wrong side.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Last comment, then we got to get out. Our time went quick. Going to the White House does not change the fact that they are Super Bowl champions. Going to the White House does not make them greater champions. Yeah, no. It honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Man, nope, not at all. Yeah, but in the eyes of the NFL and some of those bosses, it does matter.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And if you want to have a nice, long, fabulous career in the NFL, there's certain hoops you got to jump through.
Right. You want to keep getting those advertising dollars and them commercials.
Yeah.
And them freebies. You better, you better dance.
I mean, Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal quarterback, but Saquon Barkley is the one that's raking up all the extras.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's. Oh wait, you do got one more comment. Hold on.
Got another one.
The things we do and the things important to us are a reflection of our character.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
100%.
All right. Well, we're at our time. Chris, I appreciate your insight. This is good because I think it's important that we talk about things like this because we just assume sometimes we'd be like, oh man, everybody will sell out and blah 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 blah. Maybe we need to talk it through. Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. But at least had a conversation. Don't just go off on a tangent and never even talk about it. Just as a reminder to everyone, this week is our anniversary. Sunday is our 24th anniversary. I don't know what day it is. What day is it?
24? Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of years, sure.
May the 4th. Oh, yeah. May 4th, the Star Wars Day. And so we won't have regular service. We'll have service at 3 o'clock. Reverend Dr. Ricardo Brown, co-pastor of Fifth Baptist Church, will be here. So I just wanted to put that out for anybody. That'll be, I think it's going to be on Facebook and YouTube as well. But if you're in the area as person, in the area, please join us in person at 3 o'clock. But yeah, Chris, thank you for your insight. Thank you for all the questions and comments. Everybody that is listening, whether it be live or after the fact.
Appreciate your ears.
And have a good one.